Hello everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. In the course of today's tutorial, we'll be talking about what separation of variable, but our focus will be on these four, which are what? The integrating factor, the Bernoulli equation, separation of variable, and homogeneous method. We've talked about integrating factor. I gave you the steps and the approach on how to solve problems using what? The integrating factor. The same thing we did under what? Bernoulli. But today we'll be talking about what? Separation of variable. Now let's take some examples for what? Let's take some examples under what? Separation of variable. The first thing we have here is what? X bracket y minus 3 dy over dx is equal to 4y. If you look at your question, what do you see? Dy over dx, and is what? Is in the first order. Now, when you talk about separation of variables, separation of variables simply means anywhere you see x, take x to this side. Anywhere you see y, take y to the other side. It's just like grouping your equation. Now, if you want to group this, the first thing we'll do is what? The first thing is group all those your variables of y to one side and group those variables of x to the other side. Let's say we are grouping x to the right hand side and we are grouping y to the what? To the left hand side. Let's do that. We have what? X bracket y minus 3 dy over what? Dx, and this is equal to 4y. What's the next thing? I told you to group all those variables with y to this side, and we are grouping those variables with x to this other side. Now we can say that x bracket y minus 3 dy is equal to 4y dx. What's the next thing? We are not done grouping them. We can still group them because we have 4y on this right hand side of the equation, and we still have x on the left hand side. So can we take this x to this right hand side? Yes. What do? We divide through by x. So you say what? Divide through by x. Now if you do that, we have what? X bracket y minus 3 dy, and this is equal to 4y dx. You are dividing by what? X, and we are dividing by x. So your x is removing this x here. You are left with what? Y minus 3 dy, and this is equal to what? 4y multiplied by 1 over x dx. Why I did this because you can call this what? 1 over. You can move this 4y to this other side and call this 1 over because it's multiplying. What do? We can still group this to this other side of the equation by what? Dividing through by 4y. So we have what? Divide through by 4y. Now if you divide through by 4y, you have y minus 3 dy, and this is equal to 4y dot 1 over x dx. We are dividing through by what? 4y, and we are dividing through by 4y. So we can say 4y, removing 4y, we are left with what? Y minus 3 over what? 4y dy, and this is equal to 1 over x dx. So we grouped the variables for y on the what? Left hand side, and we grouped the variables for x on the right hand side. What's the next thing? We can still simplify the left hand side by saying what? This is equal to y over 4y minus 3 over what? 4y dy. And this is equal to 1 over x dx. What's the next thing? The next thing is integrate both sides of your equation. So the next thing is what? Integrate both sides of your equation. Now, if you do that, we are integrating this and we are integrating this. So this should be what? Integral of y over 4y minus what? Minus what? 3 over 4y dy. And this is equal to integral of what? 1 over x dx. So we can integrate this, and we are integrating this also. Now, what do you think how do you think you can integrate this? Now, you can still simplify this further before you integrate. Simplifying this, you have what? You have integral of what? Y over 4y minus, or you have dy minus what? Integral of what? 3 over 4y dy. And this is equal to integral of what? 1 over x dx. What do you do? I told you previously that when you see an integration like this, look forward for the word constant. Now, what is the constant here? We can still simplify this by saying what? 1 over 4, because we have a constant of 1 over 4 inside. This will have a constant of what? 3 over 4. So we can bring out those constants outside and we'll be left with what? 1 over 4 integral of what? Y over y dy minus 3 over 4 integral of what? 1 over y dy, and this is equal to integral of 1 over x dx. Now, what do we do? We can still simplify this. Y divided by y, we are left with 1, and we are integrating that 1. And we can integrate 1 over x, and we said the integral of what? 1 over is what? Ln. You are introducing ln when you have what? 1 over. Now, on this other right hand side, we have 1 over x, so we can integrate it by saying what? Ln x plus c. So let's go into the integration. Now, if we integrate this can be simplified as 1 over 4 integral of 1 dy minus 3 over 4 integral of what? 1 over y dy, and this is equal to integral of 1 over x dx. Now let's integrate. If you integrate 1, you are left with what? Y. And if you integrate 1 over y, you are left with what? Ln y. So this can be written as 1 over 4. If you integrate this, you are left with what? Y minus 3 over 4. If you integrate 1 over y, you are left with what? Ln y. So this is 3 over 4 ln y. What do you have on the right hand side? 1 over x. So if I integrate 1 over x, you have what? Ln x. So this is equal to 1 over x is what? Ln x plus c. We are adding c because we are done with what? Our integration. Now we can rearrange this. Since we have ln on this other side, we have ln on this other side. Our constant will go with what? Ln. So this can be written as 1 over 4 y minus 3 over 4 ln y. And this is equal to ln x plus ln c. Now we can simplify this because we have the same word, we have the same base. Now if we simplify this further, we have what? 1 over 4 y minus 3 over 4 ln y, and this is equal to ln x multiplied by what? C, because they are of the same base. So since they are of the same base, we will multiply what we have there. So if you multiply, we have what? X plus c. What's the next thing? We can see ln on this other side of the equation, and we are seeing ln on this other side. What do? The next thing is collect like terms, because this is carrying what? Lane, and this is carrying what? Lane. So we can take 3 over 4 lane y to this other side of the equation. We are taking 3 over 4 lane y to the right hand side. So what's the next thing? Collect like terms. Now if you collect like terms, we'll be left with what? 1 over 4 y, and this is equal to lane xc minus crossing an equality sign. If it is what? It is positive. So it will be what? Plus 3 over 4 lane y. We can still simplify this other side of the equation. You can remember when we talked about integrating factor. We did something that looks like this. We said when we have what? Exponential minus 2 lane x. We said this can be written as what? Exponential lane x raised to the power of what? 2. So can we apply the same concept here? We can apply the same concept. So what will it be? So applying the same concept of what? Integrating factor, we'll have what? 1 over 4 y, and this is equal to lane x c. Lane xc plus lane y raised to the power of what? 3 over 4. We can still see that they have the same base, which is what? Lane. Simplifying the equation, we have what? 1 over 4 y, and this is equal to what? Lane x c y, and y is raised to the power of what? 3 over 4. What do? The next thing is we can simplify this by taking what? The exponential of both sides, so that we cancel out what? Lane. So if we want to remove the lane, we take exponential of both sides of the equation. Taking the exponential of both sides, we have what? This is equal to exponential 1 over 4y, and this is equal to what? Exponential lane xcy raised to the power of what? 3 over 4. So your exponential can remove this lane, and you are left with what? Exponential 1 over 4 y, and this is equal to what? xcy raised to the power of 3 over 4. So you simplify what you have here, which is what? X bracket y minus 3 dy over dx, and this is equal to 4y. We've used our separation of variable to solve our solution. Let's take more example for more clarification. Now let's take another example. This example says what? X raised to the power of 3 plus 1 plus y raised to the power of what? 2 dy over dx, and this is equal to 0. I told you the first thing is what? You separate your variables. You take your variables for y one side, and you take your variables for x one side. So if we do that to this equation, we'll have what? X raised to the power of 3 plus 1 plus y all square dy over dx, and this is equal to 0. Note that in this question, they gave you what? Boundary conditions, where they said what? Y is equal to 0 and x is equal to 1. From our previous class, we know that when we are giving boundary conditions, what are we asked to find? We are asked to find the constant, which is what? C. Now let's solve this equation. The first thing is separate your variables. Take the variables for y to the left hand side and the variables for x to the right hand side. Now doing that, we'll have that what? This can be written as 1 plus y all square dy over what? Dx, and this is equal to what? We are taking this to this other side, so it will be what? Minus x raised to the power of what? 3. So we can take the x to the right hand side. Now taking the x to the right hand side, we can cross multiply. And if we cross multiply, we'll be left with what? 1 plus y raised to the power of 2. And this is what? The y is equal to minus x raised to the power of 3 dx. So we've achieved what we wanted to get by what? Separating both variables. What's the next thing? Integrate both sides of your equation. So the next thing is what? Integrate both sides of your equation. So if you do that, you are integrating this side to be what? Integral of 1 plus y raised to the power of 2 dy, and this is equal to the integral of minus x raised to the power of 3 dx. Now we can integrate both sides of the equation by saying what? If you integrate this side, you are taking this as a whole and you are integrating the power. We are using the concept of the power, we are using the concept of integration, which says what? X n plus 1, and this is what? N plus 1. Now, if we apply the same concept, this concept to what we have here, we have what? This is equal to what? 1 plus y raised to the power of what? 2 plus 1 over what? 2 plus 1. And this is equal to, bring out the minus sign. So we have what? Minus integral of what? X raised to the power of 3 dx. So we can still apply the same concept here to what we have here. So applying this concept to what we have here, we have what? This should be what? 1 plus y raised to the power of what? 2 plus 1. And this is over what? 2 plus 1. And this is equal to minus, applying this concept, it will be what? Minus x 3 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 plus c, because we are done. Now what do? We can simplify this. Now simplifying what we have here, we have that what? This is equal to 1 over 3 bracket x plus, we have what? 1 over 3 bracket 1 plus y raised to the power of what? 3, and this is equal to minus 1 over what? 1 over 4 bracket x raised to the power of what? 4 plus c. We are done with the solution. But note, we are given a boundary condition which says what? Y is equal to 0 and x is equal to 1. Meaning anywhere we see y, we are putting what? 0, and anywhere we see x, we are putting what? 0. So if we do that, we have what? 1 over 3 bracket 1 plus, what is our y? 0 raised to the power of what? 3. And this is equal to minus 1 over 4. What is x? X is 1. So bracket 1 raised to the power of 4 plus c. What are we to find? We have to find the constant. So if you do that, you can simplify what you have here. This will be what? 1 over 3. 1 plus 0 is 1. Raised to the power of 3 is 1. So this is multiplied by what? 1. Multiplied by 1, and this is equal to minus 1 over 4. 1 raised to the power of 4 is 1. It's still 1 times 1 to 4 places. So we have what? 1 multiplied by 1 plus c. What we have here, 1 over 3 multiplied by 1. We have what? 1 over 3. So this is 1 over 3, and this is equal to minus 1 over 4 plus c. What do? Minus sign is crossing over to this other side. So we left with what? We are left with c is equal to 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4. So we can simplify your fraction here. So if you simplify the fraction, you have a value, and this is the end of your solution.